My name is Kevin, and I'm about as average as a kid can get. I mean, if you looked up average in the dictionary, you'd probably find my picture there. I blend into crowds like a chameleon, my grades hover around a solid meh, and the most athletic thing I've ever done is outrun a bee. And let me tell you, that bee was relentless. So, naturally, I decided to become a superhero. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. Every superhero has to start somewhere, right?
It all started with a comic book. One lazy afternoon, I was flipping through the pages of my favorite comic book. Captain Courageous, this super buff dude with a jawline you could cut diamonds on, had just saved a busload of nuns from a runaway hot dog cart. I know, right? Heroic. The way he swooped in, fearless and strong, it was like he was born to be a hero.
I looked in the mirror at my reflection. Messy hair, crooked glasses, a ketchup stain on my shirt, and thought, Kevin, you need a serious life upgrade. I mean, if Captain Courageous could save nuns from a hot dog cart, surely I could do something heroic too, right?
That's how Captain Clumsy was born. It wasn't the most graceful start, but every hero has their humble beginnings. Don't judge the name yet. He was still working on his superhero branding. Every great hero needs a great name, and sometimes it takes a few tries to get it right.
I even had a nemesis picked out, the evil Dr. Boredom, who was going to unleash a wave of apathy so intense it would shut down the entire internet. Imagine a world where no one cared about anything, where the internet was just a void of nothingness. Pretty terrifying if you ask me. But every hero needs a villain, and Dr. Boredom was the perfect match for Captain Clumsy. Together, we were going to make sure the world stayed interesting, one clumsy step at a time. Every good superhero needs a training montage, right? You know, those epic sequences where they go from zero to hero in a matter of minutes, all set to some adrenaline-pumping music. I blasted my pump-up playlist, mostly 80s hair metal, and hit the backyard. First up, push-ups. I managed 3, maybe 4 if you count the one where I face-planted. It was not exactly the stuff of legends, but hey, everyone starts somewhere, right?
Next, agility training. This was going to be my chance to shine, or so I thought. He strung a rope between 2 trees, okay, it was more like 2 scrawny bushes, and decided to test his balance, and attempted to channel his inner ninja. Balancing on that rope was harder than it looked. Let's just say spiders make it look a lot easier. They have 8 legs after all.
By the time I attempted a superhero landing, crouch, 1 knee down, smoldering intensity, I was feeling pretty good about myself. I had attracted an audience, not the cheering crowd I imagined, but an audience nonetheless. It was Mrs. Henderson, my neighbor, and her fluffy Persian cat, Mittens. Mittens looked unimpressed. Mrs. Henderson, on the other hand, seemed mildly entertained. She gave me a thumbs up, which I took as a sign of encouragement. Maybe, just maybe, I was on my way to becoming a real superhero. A superhero is nothing without a killer costume. My vision, sleek, intimidating, shrouded in an aura of mystery. My reality, picture a bright yellow morph suit, think banana gone rogue, and a pair of ski goggles I found in the attic.
He practiced his superhero glare in the mirror. The problem with ski goggles? They fog up. A lot. He looked less like a crime-fighting vigilante and more like a confused banana in a sauna.
My mom walked in, took one look at me, and burst out laughing. "Honey," she said, wiping away a tear, "maybe we should just order a pizza and call it a day?"
Operation Feline Rescue, gone wrong. It all started on a sunny afternoon when the neighborhood was unusually quiet.
My big chance came sooner than expected. I had always dreamed of being a hero, and today was my moment.
Mrs. Henderson was frantically searching for Mittens, her beloved cat who had a knack for getting into trouble. Mittens had decided to explore the great unknown, aka the oak tree in her front yard. The tree was tall and imposing, a true challenge for any would-be rescuer. This was it, my time to shine. I had been waiting for an opportunity like this for as long as I could remember.
I scrambled into my costume, fogged up goggles and all, and sprang into action. "Fear not, Mrs. Henderson!" I was ready to save the day. I announced in my deepest, most heroic voice, trying to sound like the superheroes I admired, which, unfortunately, sounded suspiciously like a prepubescent chipmunk. The neighbors couldn't help but chuckle. "Captain Clumsy is on the case." I struck a pose, feeling both ridiculous and determined.
Climbing a tree, even one as majestic as Mrs. Henderson's oak, was no small feat. The branches seemed to stretch endlessly into the sky. It proved more challenging than anticipated. Each branch seemed to mock my efforts, swaying just out of reach, especially while wearing a morph suit that seemed determined to constrict my every movement. Every step felt like a battle against my own outfit.
I finally reached Mittens, who blinked at me with aloof disdain. She seemed unimpressed by my heroic efforts. As I attempted to coax her down, my foot slipped. The world seemed to slow down as I lost my balance.
I landed in a heap at the foot of the tree, feeling both defeated and embarrassed. The ground was unforgiving, Mittens gracefully landing on top of me, purring with amusement. She seemed to enjoy the spectacle, her eyes twinkling with mischief. In the end, it was Mittens who had the last laugh. The cat, the costume, and the epiphany.
Lying there, tangled in a web of yellow spandex, I realized something important. Superheroes, the real ones, they weren't about the costumes or the cool gadgets. They were about helping people, even if it meant looking ridiculous in the process.
You okay, Kevin? Mrs. Henderson asked, her laughter finally subsiding.
I looked at her, then at Mittens, who was now batting at my nose with a furry paw. Yeah, I said, a genuine smile spreading across my face. I think I am.
Embrace your inner goofball.
So maybe I wasn't destined to be the next Captain Courageous. Maybe my superpowers were more along the lines of making people laugh and being a magnet for awkward situations. And you know what? That was okay.
The world needs all kinds of heroes. The brave, the strong, the ones who can shoot lasers out of their eyes. Those are great. But it also needs the goofy, the awkward, the ones who trip over their own feet while trying to save the day. Keep on laughing.
So, the next time you're feeling like a sidekick in a world full of superheroes, remember Captain Clumsy's story. Embrace your inner goofball, laugh at your mistakes, and never be afraid to be yourself. Because sometimes, the greatest superpower of all is the ability to make someone smile.
And that's a superpower we all have within us.
The end.